This is Limitless Spirit, a practical, inspirational, and thought-provoking weekly podcast about the impact of faith and Christian identity in today's world. And now here's your host, champion of Jesus and people who love him, world traveler and co-founder of World Missions Alliance, Helen Todd.
Welcome to episode 2 of the Limitless Spirit Podcast. Today we continue to talk about the cost of being a Christian. In the recent years, several Christian leaders publicly announced that they no longer believe. I think this is purely a first world problem. In a free and prosperous society, as we live in, faith is often reduced to a self-help gimmick or a get-rich-quick tool, and we end up with this entitled attitude towards God. Okay, I believe in you, but what's in it for me? And when our desires and needs are not met, we feel cheated. Our guest today is an Iraqi Christian, an Armen Hagopian, whose conversion to Christianity turned his life into a complete crisis. First, he had to abandon his career as a nightclub singer because as he got saved, he was chosen to be a worship leader at his church, and he could no longer reconcile the inner conflict between two very different kinds of music. Then, he had to leave his hometown, Baghdad, because God called him to start a church in the north of Iraq. His work became successful there, but it angered some of the tribal leaders, and so his only son's life was threatened. And Armen was faced with a dilemma: to stay and continue the work he started from ground zero, or choose his son's safety and flee the country. What would you do in his situation? Let's hear the rest of Armen's story. So they threatened you. They threatened your life. They threatened the life of your child.
Let me tell you, yes. Now, I don't know if really these people did that, but they threatened me after 1 month of this court. So who threatened me, he was covered. I couldn't see his face. He was beside
He came to your house?
He came to my house. He was just beside my outside door, and he said, if you don't leave, we will burn your heart. In tribe language, this is it means I will kill your son. I will burn your heart. Yeah,
I see.
So I understand that, and I struggle for time, like how I can leave this ministry. It was really very, very hard to me. We plant the church, it's not like you go and serve in the church from zero in a living room.
So you were faced with a very difficult decision to protect your only son or to keep your ministry and stay.
Yes, that's right. The problem was I was struggling, when Abraham, when he put Isaac.
Yes.
For the Lord, I start to say to the Lord, Lord, if you want me to put my son like Abraham. He said, no, Abraham put his son in my hand. Don't put your son in devil's hand. This was what the Lord told me. So I decided after prayers and struggling.
You decided to escape.
I decided to leave.
I love what Armen said when he was torn between the decision to choose his ministry or his son. God asked Abraham to sacrifice Isaac to him. God did not ask Armen to sacrifice his son Samuel to the enemies. And even though Armen was not required to sacrifice his son, he still had to give up something very precious. Let's hear more of his story. We'll find out what is the greatest challenge in the life of a refugee. Plus, Armen has some interesting ideas on the refugee policy. So I want to talk a little bit more about your life as a refugee in Lebanon, because many people, they know about the refugee crisis. They know about the extremely large number of people being displaced and living as refugees in countries like Lebanon, Turkey, Jordan. But few people understand what life as a refugee is really like.
I lost like my friends, I lost my family, I lost my church, I lost my ministry, and I come here in a small apartment. Even I'm better than another people. There is people, they can't even have this apartment They go to a basements. They go to a very bad places for
Some people
it's
live in camps and tents.
some people in camps in tents. So for me also, I'm blessed. I'm better than another refugees. But it's maybe for me it's not the physical struggling, but for me is the, when I lost everything. When you plant a church, and this is like your life, you understand me, this is my life, and I lost it.
So, as a refugee in Lebanon, even though you have a status of a refugee, you don't have a status of a legal immigrant. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's correct. I told you, the visa is for 2 months. After that, it's illegal to stay here. So we go to the United Nations. They give us a protection paper. They call it protection paper, or something like that. But it do nothing. Even now, if somebody steal my home, I can't go to the police. I need to be careful, very far from the government.
What about you or Zena getting a job? Are you legally able to get a job?
No refugee can have a legally job.
So, how are they supposed to survive?
Uh, it's very difficult to survive. Like, if the real salary is $1,500, they pay $400 or $300.
What about access to medical services?
We have no medical services. If the salary is $400, and any small problem, you need to pay $200, $300. So you just stay sick. That's the solution.
Of course, let me ask you this first. If you had a choice to go back to Iraq, would that be a number one choice for you?
For me, never. I can't go back to Iraq. I don't trust the policy there. I don't trust the government there. I don't even trust the people around me there. Like, for me as a Christian, sometimes if you ask a Muslim, like, he's Shia, and he's afraid from the Sunnah afraid from Shia, Kurdi afraid from Arab is afraid from Kurdi, and this is the problem. You don't know who's your enemy and who's your friend.
You don't feel
So
like there will be in any near future stability in your own country?
I don't think so. Especially for the Christian.
Okay, so then what was your ideal destination as a refugee if you had a choice?
For me, my first choice was America, but I couldn't. I don't know. Now they are not accepting the refugees.
So what
Like the
why
embassy.
was America an ideal destination in your opinion? What made it so appealing aside from the fact that you had friends there?
Uh, I don't know.
And we're
Maybe
talking about United States of America because technically Canada is also America. It's North America. So
yes,
we're talking,
that's
we will
right.
specify that we're talking about the United States of America.
Okay, for the United States, all what we hear, that if you work good in America and you are a good citizen, you will have your rights. This is the minimum for me. Okay, like, if I live as a good person in America, okay, I will have my rights, and for us to have our rights, this is like heaven, because the
That's a
people in
very good
Middle East.
statement.
Yeah, because for us to have our rights is things. It's something like impossible. When I tell you, if somebody beat my boy, I can't tell him why you are beating my boy. So if I'm good citizen in America, I will have my rights. I can protect my family.
Your story has a good ending. You have been accepted as a refugee into Canada. So your move is going to be happening very soon. As
Yeah,
you're preparing to make that third big move in your life, do
that's
you
right.
do you have any concerns about how you're going to fit into the Canadian culture, into life in Canada?
Sometimes when I think in this way, like the culture, many things. I start to think in another way. Okay, whatever will happen to me there, I was in a very worse. What's coming is better than
Than
what
what you're
happened to me.
escaping from. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. So yeah, there is challenge, many challenges with society, with how we can work, how we start again. But whatever is it, it's better than what happened to us.
Well, one more question I have. Actually, I have two more questions. So, first one
Okay.
is, do you think that because there's a big debate right now in the United States about accepting refugees, not accepting refugees, and how many refugees we should accept. So, what is your opinion?
I think to check the refugees in a very good way and accept them is the best. Like if there is a people, they deserve to be there because they will be a good people, the good citizen in there. It's okay. But sometimes also we feel like, okay, these countries, when they are accepting many people and they are making problems for the country, also we feel sorry. We say, okay, the safe countries also in troubles because of some of the refugees. It's not solution
Accept
to stop
everybody.
accept everybody, and it's not solution to stop all program because of some people. So the solution is to check the people in very good way and accept them who deserve to go.
And my final question is, Armen, you went through all these challenges as a Christian.
Yeah,
And, when we accept Christ, being a Christian does not guarantee you a trouble free life, but
yeah,
it guarantees you answers. It guarantees you hope. Our faith is very practical. It takes us through life's challenges. And so, my question to you is how, in the most practical ways, your faith helped you go through these challenging situations.
okay. First, I need to trust God really. Okay, even when I'm in very hard situation, what I do is I know that any human will go in very in troubles, in problems, in hard life, many things. But to go through all that with Jesus is different. So for me, I seek growing in Jesus. I try to like do uh, whatever it build my life as a Christian and focus on it, and I will have answers from Jesus why this is happening with me. Like what happened with me in the Hawk and brings me here. I understand when I'm in the problems, when I'm emigrated. Hundreds accepted Jesus with me here because I'm seeking Jesus and seeking how I can be effective in his kingdom. So when I focus on him, he's fixing everything around me because I belong to Jesus. I'm in his kingdom. I'm his son, so he cares about me.
I remember when I first read the Bible, the story of God asking Abraham to sacrifice Isaac was extremely hard for me to accept. I tried to imagine this journey, the 3-day journey to Mount Moriah that Abraham made, and the sorrow and loneliness and hopelessness he must have felt because he was offering God the very hope of the promise that God gave him. How can a nation be born to him if he kills his only son? Perhaps you're going through a crisis today. It may not be as dramatic outwardly as Armen's story, but God may be asking you to place something very dear to you on his altar. It could be a person in your life, or maybe it's a dream, or your grief, or part of yourself. Your pain has great value to God, so much so that he did not spare his only son just that he can heal your broken heart and redeem every minute of the pain that you're going through. I am so encouraged by Armen's story. To me, his words have much value and substance because his faith has a value proven by what he had to give up, and also the endurance and the deep perspective that came out of his trial. I look forward to the next episode where I'm interviewing an amazing 85-year-old woman, And her life story is so extraordinary that it was turned into 3 books and a play. Before I say goodbye, I will be adding a mailbag section to the podcast, and I look forward to receiving your comments, episode ideas, and jokes, and anything else you want to write to me, and I will be reading some of them right here on the podcast and answering your questions. So you can send them to podcast@rfwma.org. I look forward hearing from you. Until next time.
Thanks for listening to Limitless Spirit with Helen Todd, produced by World Missions Alliance. Are you ready to step out of your comfort zone? Do you have a passion to help people and share your faith across the globe? Visit our website, rfwma.org, and get involved in the Great Commission through short-term missions. We hope you'll leave a review and check out other episodes. We'll be with you in a week on our next episode of Limitless Spirit.